My name is Becky Anderson, although that isn't the name that I was born with. I was born Melody Ann Brennan, and when I was 6 months old, I was placed for adoption by my birth mother and birth father. I've always known I was adopted, and it's always been a really special part of my life. But as I got older, I wanted to know more. I knew that I was adopted, but where did I come from? Was there anyone out there that looked like me? I wanted answers to these questions. And so I did a search. After I had my son, I did some research. The Mormon Church helped me a lot. I got in contact with them, and they helped me fill out some forms and do some more research. And I found a lady who lived in Rhode Island. I knew that my birth mother's name was Kosulawicz, which is Polish, and I knew my birth father's name was Paul Brennan, which is very, very common Irish name. But I found a lady who lived in Rhode Island that I thought might be related to me. So I called her on the phone, and then I hung up before she could answer. And I called my sister and said, "What do I do if this woman answers?" And she said, "First thing you need to do is give her your phone number in case she hangs up on you," like I had just done on her. So I dialed the number again, and a younger woman answered, and she said, "Hello." And I said, "Is Jenny Prisabella there?" And she said, "Yeah, just a second. She's in the shower." So she went and got this lady, and I told her, I said, "My name's Becky Anderson, and I was adopted 34 years ago, and I live in New Mexico, and my birth mother's name was Kate Brennan. I wondered if you know her." And this woman just started to sob hysterically. So, of course, so did I. Luckily, my dad was on the other end, and when this lady and I just finished crying, she said, "Your birth mother was my sister, and she died 9 months after she gave you for adoption, having another baby." And there was just silence, and she said, "I guess I better call your brothers." And I knew I had brothers. My mom and dad had always told me. They had told me whatever they knew, and they were so careful growing up to never say anything about my birth parents. My parents are the Andersons. When I was 6 months old, I came to live with them. They said that my birth father, they were traveling from Ohio. My birth father they were in Gallup. He came on the bus, walked into an attorney's office and said, "I have this little girl. I need to place her for adoption." And that was me. And that was my parents' attorney. So I became an Anderson on December 5th. And we always celebrate that day. That's my coming home day. That's when I came home. And, I've always wondered if my birth family remembered me, if they ever thought about me, especially like on my birthday. Well, when this woman cried and said, "Your sister was my mom," I kind of thought maybe they thought about me. So I made arrangements, and my dad, my son, and I went out to Rhode Island, and we got off the plane, and my parents, my mom and my dad, the Andersons, they're both tall and slim. And then I have a sister, Kathy, who we also adopted 2.5 years later after I was adopted. And she's tall and slim and curly brown hair. And then there's me. And when I got off the plane, there was this man standing there. And if I had been a guy, that's who I would have looked like. He was like, oh my gosh, he was a brother, but we looked so much alike. I have 2 brothers. And it was just kind of a cool thing to know that there was someone out there that looked like me. We had a great time. We went to the cemetery. My older brother, Joe, he remembered all those years. He remembered me. He said, "I used to take care of you when our parents would go out and party." He said, "I knew you were there, and they just always told me, and all of a sudden you were gone." And he said, "But I remembered all these years." And so we went to the cemetery where my birth mom was buried, Kate. That's what I call her. I don't call her my mom, but she was my birth mom, and I'm very grateful. We went to the cemetery, and Joe showed me the cemetery where she was buried and all this, and he said, what do you feel? What do you think?" And I said, "Bud, I'm sorry, your mom. This is your mom, and you didn't have her." I said, "But this isn't my mom. She gave me birth. Kate gave me birth. I'll always be so grateful. But she wasn't my mom, but I'm very sorry you didn't have her." They had a rough life, both of my brothers. They were out on their own at 15, and I didn't. I had a great life. I had someone that made sure my homework was done. I had someone that was there when I was sick and someone that busted my butt when I wasn't doing what I was supposed to do. I was very lucky, and I wouldn't have had that if I hadn't been adopted into the Anderson family. We were never called adopted. We were Andersons. That's all there was to it. My grandparents felt that way. It was never, oh, this is my adopted. We were Andersons, and I always will be. It was a wonderful experience. I have so many wonderful things to thank the Andersons for, and I'm really glad that I met my brothers. Their last name is Sherest, and I'm glad there's people out there that know who I am, and that I think I filled a place for them too, you know, to know. They didn't know about me. The one did, but the other one didn't. Another part of being adopted is, maybe this is a little selfish, I don't know. I mean, I'm an adult and I know that, but I always wondered if on my birthday, June 5th, they thought about me. Even when I became an adult, I thought, I wonder if they think about me on, you know, on my birthday. And it had nothing to do with the love that I got from the Andersons, but I just wondered. I met a lady not too long ago who had placed her son for adoption. And I thought, and I knew this lady well, and I said, can I ask you a question? And I said, because she knew I was adopted, I said, did you ever think about your son on his birthday? And I think I asked her if she just ever thought about him. And she said every day, but especially on his birthday. And that just, while it broke my heart, it made me feel really good. You know, I felt bad. Kate died 9 months after she gave me up for adoption, having another baby. We don't know what happened to my dad, but my birth dad, but I felt bad that she died having another baby. But their sacrifice gave me a wonderful life, made me who I am today. And I think it's important that people know that sometimes adoption can be a really wonderful thing. Thank you.